we're gonna start with 2 stretches first, and then we're gonna do 4 exercises. So planks, crunches, bird dogs, and V-ups, which I will kind of walk you guys through again, just to make sure everybody knows. If you are a seated athlete today, what we're gonna do is work in the chair with doing crunches. So isometric crunches, just in case you're not aware or you forget, is you're coring up here. Everything from your top of your iliac crest, your hips, up to here should be nice and tight, right? Like no sagging, really good form, sitting up nice and straight. And this is when I say we're doing a crunch, you're gonna hold that tight the whole time. So like you should be able to hit it with your fingers and it should feel solid the whole way around. And then we're gonna do 2 different variations of that. We're gonna do a straight crunch like this in a seated position, and then we're gonna do a twist crunch. So when you twist, don't over rotate yourself just because it'll make your back sore. So just kind of come into it about halfway and then crunch it up. You should feel your obliques get strong. And this will stay tight too, but make sure your obliques are nice and tight the whole time. If you're not seated, you will be doing a plank with me, a crunch with me. When we do a crunch on the ground, make sure you're not lifting up too far. So all we're doing is peeling up our shoulder blades. So this piece is coming up and you're stopping about right here. So you make a nice little C shape, and you want to keep your feet kind of off the ground a little bit, about 6 inches. So you're just peeling up and then you're holding that for me. We're gonna hold that for like a second each time. The crunch people are gonna be doing the crunches the entire time we're doing those. So we're gonna do 10 of those. Bird dogs, we're gonna do 5 on each side, which bird dog is just alternating arm and leg, just like a pointer. So if I'm pointing with this arm, I'm sticking this leg straight out, and we're gonna hold those for 10 seconds on each side. And then V-ups, we're gonna do 10 of those. And if you're seated, you're gonna be doing a push down in your chair. So on your chair, your hands are flat. I have a chair behind me, I'll be doing one. All you're doing is you're trying to hover your bum off the chair. So when I'm pushing up, right here, we're just trying to clear our bum off the chair so like a piece of paper can go under there. When you do that, you want to core up nice and tight right here. That's what's going to lift you off. Don't make your shoulders do the work. Make your core do the work and pull yourself up off there. And you're going to hold that for the entire time we're doing the V-ups. But we're going to stretch first. So if you are seated, you're already ahead of me. And we're going to do just a nice, easy twist to the side. If you want to, bring your legs up. If you can't bring your legs up, that's fine. Keep them flat and stay seated. But you're just twisting. I usually put my arm on my legs and I push across. Not hard, just nice and relaxed. Breathe nice and deep. And we're going to hold that for 10 seconds. I'm going to set a timer for us. So we're going to hold that for 10 seconds on each side. So pick a side. Here we go. Just nice, easy stretch. Nothing crazy. The stretches we do in the beginning, we're going to do at the end, just so we can kind of see how we got loose. There's 10. We're going to switch sides. We're going to do that a couple times. Good. Stretching back the other way. And it should be nice, fluid movements, no herky-jerky. Nice and smooth the whole time. Switching back again. Cool. Now from that same position, we're going to do a front bend. So I have my legs straight out in front of me. If you're seated and your legs are down, that's totally fine. If you're seated on the ground, put your legs straight out in front of you. We're just going to be bending forward as far as we can comfortably. Don't bounce. It's a nice, deep stretch. You should feel it in your hamstrings and in your lower back. If you can reach out to your toes, that's great. Don't feel like you have to. We're going to hold that for 10 seconds as well. So here we go. But nice and smooth. Don't bounce. Don't move around. You should feel the stretch pull nice and easy. So that's 10. Come back up straight. We're going to hold there for about 5 or 6. And now we're going to go forward again for 10. Let your lower back loosen up. Back up straight again, nice and straight. Get that spine nice and elongated. And going forward one more time. And when we come out of this one, we're gonna take our arms, if you can, up above your head. If you can't, you're gonna go back into that straight up and down. So let's come back up. Take your arms up nice above your head. Stretch it out really nice. You should feel it in your whole spine. Just hold that up there. Don't tighten your core up yet. We'll do enough of that. All right, cool. So we're gonna start with planks. If you're doing planks with me, we're gonna do a front plank for 30 seconds. If you're doing a crunch, you're doing a seated crunch. Again, remember, from the hips to the chest. That is tight, nothing moves. We're gonna all be holding this for 30 seconds. If you're doing a front plank, remember, if you wanna take weight off, just drop a knee. If you have to take more, drop both knees. Don't worry about that at all. We wanna make sure our form is good. So don't get messy, don't get saggy. Don't lift your butt way up in the air because that's gonna not so good for your shoulders. So we're gonna get set here. We're gonna go 30 seconds. If you're doing that crunch, you're gonna crunch as soon as we pull up into the plank. Here we go for 30 seconds. Keep that back as straight as you can, like a little ramrod. A 2x4 is like taped to your back. There's 15 seconds. Guys are doing great. Keep that bum nice and level with the ground. Spine's nice and tight. Core is nice and tight. There's 30 seconds. Now we're gonna do crunches. If you're doing a seated crunch, you're doing the crunch now instead of like what we just did on that stretch with your arms up. You're taking your arms above you if you can. If you cannot, you're doing that same crunch again. If you can bring your hands up high, you're doing a high crunch. So arms above your head, tighten up that core. If you're doing crunches with me, we're gonna do 10. Remember, just peeling those shoulder blades up, no higher than that. And we're gonna do 10 of those. So here we go. You'll hear me count. You keep your own count. Don't feel like you have to keep on mine. So we're gonna do 10. If you wanna float your feet 6 inches off the ground, that's great too. If you wanna bend your knees, that's okay. Floating your feet is a little bit harder. Bent knees is a little bit easier. Take your pick. It's up to you guys. So we're gonna do 10 of those. If you put your fingers behind your head, don't lace them. Just let them touch. That's it. So I'll do that a lot just to kind of keep my head rested. But we're gonna do 10. So if you're seated crunching, you're gonna do your crunch the whole time. Here we go, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep that crunch nice and tight. 8, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nicely done. Okay, bird dogs. If you are seated, now you're gonna do a twisted crunch. So a twisted crunch is here, kind of that stretch we did in the beginning. You're gonna pull yourself over. As you come into this halfway point, that's when you're gonna tighten up. And then you're gonna hold that like a statue for the entire time. When we're gonna do 5 on each side. When I get to 5, I'll have you switch. You'll hear me say that though. If you're doing bird dogs, you can start on either side, doesn't matter. We're just gonna do 5 on each side. When we come out to the full point, we're gonna hold that for like a second. So it's not like a stab, so it's nice and controlled. So we're gonna do 10 total, 5 on each side. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're doing a seated twist, turn around the other side. 1.
Shot ball.
2, 3. Oh, beautiful. 4, 5. Nicely done. Okay, last one for this round are V-ups. So V-ups you can do with a weight. I use a 10-pound weight. You do not have to use a 10-pound weight. If you're not using a weight, just take those hands back behind your head. And as you come up into the V shape, you want to just be touching your thigh, your nuts here. That's called your shin, not your thigh. So you're gonna come up, touch those thigh or shins, go back down, come back up, touch those shins. We're gonna do 10 of those. If you're doing this seated, remember, this is the one where you're gonna push down on those shoulders. Try to hover that bum as much as you can. Just try to unweight it. You don't have to get it off the ground or off the chair. You just wanna keep all this nice and tight. You're gonna hold that for the entire V-up session. So we are gonna do 10. So here again, you'll hear me count. You can keep your own count. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you're seated, let that crunch out now. And lower back down onto the chair. We're gonna take 2 minutes in between. Start a timer. If you're drinking water, please do it now. If you're not drinking water, get water. Nobody should be dehydrated. It's too hot for that. So that's one rotation. We're gonna do that 3 more times. Everybody's doing good? I saw lots of hands and feet flying by. That's good. Means everybody's happy. Remember, I think Michael said this.
Well, for the bird, I lose my balance sometimes when I'm on the ground.
I do the same thing, Paul. Sometimes
I
I
have a hard time with it, so it's like on one side I'm like this, and on the other side.
You're a crazy bird dog, that's all. And don't feel like, do that however you want, Paul. Don't feel like you have to hit that pose every time. Just pull up into it nice and slow. If your arm floats, I saw your arm float this way, that's totally fine. You're just you want to make sure that this stays nice and tight. The arm is kind of just not doing anything. Just get it up wherever you can. The important thing is to stay nice and tight in your core the whole time. All right, we're at about 1.5 minutes, so we're gonna go about 30 more seconds. We're gonna do 30-second planks again. If you're seated, you're doing that front crunch, no twisting, no pushing down. Coming up on 1:45. Okay, if you're doing planks, you wanna kind of get into that position now, because we are gonna start. Yay. All right, I'm resetting the counter. Okay, here we go, pulling up into a front plank. And if you're doing a crunch, you're crunching the whole 30 seconds. Here we go, up into a crunch, to a plank and a crunch. Keep that back nice and level. Don't let your hips sag. Don't let them go up in the air. If your back starts to get really fatigued, just drop one of your knees down. That'll take some of that weight for you. You guys are doing great. Here's 2, 1, 30. Good. Now we're doing crunches. If you're doing seated crunches, you're doing that high crunch with your hands above your head. If you're doing crunches on the ground, we're gonna do 10 of those. Remember, just peeling up those shoulder blades, nothing more. Here we go. We're gonna do 10 of these. Seated crunches, you're holding it for the whole time. Arms up if you can. If not, that's okay. Just keep that crunch tight the whole time. We're gonna do 10, just shoulder blades. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice. Switching to bird dogs. We're gonna do 5 on each side, same thing. If you're seated, you're doing a seated twist with a nice crunch on the side. We're gonna do 10, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Nice. Nice job,
5.
Danny.
Switching. That's beautiful. 1. If you're doing crunches, you're switching. 2, 3,
There you go, Paul. It's perfect.
5. Paul, that is awesome. All right, now we're doing V-ups. If you're doing the seated, you're doing the push down. Try to hover that bum. V-ups, we're going to do 10 of those. All right, here we go. Whenever you're ready, here you start. We're going to do 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. 2-minute break. Let me start that. Drinking water if you have it. Halfway, guys. Doing awesome. Okay, so this time we're just going to add a little bit of time to that plank. We're going to add about 15 seconds, maybe 20. Yeah, we're going to add 20, 10 on each. Yeah, 10 on each side. So what we're going to do, if you feel like doing this, we're just going to roll that plank to the side. So do a side plank, which is kind of here. And my hip is up. This is nice and straight here. And you just hold that for 10. So we're going to add that just in that first rotation. See how that goes. Okay. That's a minute. We're going to go another minute. Water and rest. Everything else is going to stay the same. Crunches are going to stay the same. Bird dogs are going to stay the same. And V-ups will stay the same too.
I feel like if you're disappearing and then reappearing, you're doing the right thing.
Exactly. When I just see a hand like this, every now and again, that's a good thing. Or a foot, like a foot flying through the air, that's a good thing too. Okay, coming up on a minute 45. So if you're going to do planks, you want to be getting in that position. If you're doing crunches, get in that position. And we are going to start here in about 10 seconds. Oh, that's a good stretch too. All right, let me reset this. All right, we're going to pull up into a front plank. So remember, at 30 seconds, I'll tell you, and we're going to roll. If you want to roll, you don't have to roll. Totally up to you guys. Here we go. Pull up into the crunch as well. So we're going to try to hold that crunch that extra 15 seconds as well. So keep your tummy, your core nice and tight the whole time.
There you go, Anna.
Anna, all I see is the back of your head and shoulders. That's
Jim keeps
awesome. There is the rest of it.
Jim's
She is. She's like, hi. You look like a dolphin swimming next to a boat. So we're coming up on 30 seconds.
There you go,
Gonna
Jim.
come on one side.
Keep
I'm
holding
gonna do
it.
10 seconds on one side. Here comes 10. Now I'm gonna roll the other way. And just hold that for 10. If you're seated, do that crunch. Hold that crunch nice and tight. 3, 2, 1. Good. Good. Nice little add-on. Now we're doing our own crunches. So we're on our back. If you're seated, you're doing the high reach crunch. Reset that. And we're going to do 10 crunches. Here. So, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
There you go, Gina.
9, 10. Beauty. We're going to do bird dogs now. If you're seated, you're doing this, the twist and hold. Bird dogs, we're gonna still do 5 and 5. The last rotation we'll add 2 on each side. So here we go. Yeah, we did 5. Okay, 5 on each side. If you're doing the seated one, I'll have you switch when I get to 5. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're seated, go ahead and switch. 1, 2,
Nice job, Jeremiah, Paul,
4,
Jim.
5. Beautiful.
Nice, Danny.
You guys are killing it. All right, V-ups. Seated, you're doing the push down and a hover. V-ups, we're doing 10 of these guys. Here we go. Remember, you'll hear me count, but you keep your own count. You don't have to count. You don't have to move on my counts. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Guys are cruising. Okay, 2 minutes, and then the last rotation. Timer, go. All right, drinking that water. Nice breathing. It's gonna rain here any moment. Okay, so for this one, we're gonna stick with the 40 or the 50. What do? We did 50 seconds for the planks. Crunches are gonna stay the same. Bird dogs, we're gonna add 2 on each side. So we're gonna do 7 on each side. Just for the heck of it. And V-ups will do the same. If I don't write it down, I forget everything. Okay, and then we're gonna do those 3 stretches again at the end, and we'll see how everybody feels. Hopefully you're like much looser. That's the idea anyway. That's a minute. We're gonna rest another minute. And you guys, we're gonna put a video out of a climbing day, so you guys can see kind of what we do here for fun, for giggles. So I'm gonna take the phone climbing one day this week, and then put a video. Chelsea asked me to put a video together, kind of like Chris Werhane doing the walk through the neighborhood. It's just my neighborhood. My neighborhood is a cliff, kind of a thing. So it should be kind of fun, as long as I don't drop my phone. That's like my big fear, is dropping my phone. Okay, if you're doing planks, you're gonna roll into that plank position. Remember, we're gonna do 50, so 10 on each side at the end. We stop that, we're gonna reset. Crunches, you're holding for the entire time. So if you're doing a plank, here we go. Crunch is nice and tight. Plank is nice and level. Keep it nice and straight. Okay, if you're gonna roll onto a side, it's coming up in about 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, roll onto that side. Keep that hip nice and high. Anna's got her arm up. That's actually a really great balance thing. Kind of keep your arm nice and straight. Now we're gonna roll to the other side. Kind of keeps it nice and makes you core up even more, I think. And you can wave at people. All right, beautiful. Okay, now crunches. Doing 10 crunches again. Peel those shoulders up off. And if you're doing a seated, you're doing a high crunch. So arms up if you can. And you're holding for the whole time we're doing the crunch. Here we go. We're going to do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On this last one, hold at the top. 10. Just hold that crunch right there. Then let it down. Perfect. Bird dogs, we're going to add 2 to each side. So 7 total. If you're seated, you're doing that twist. And as you pull into the twist, that's when you kind of core up. Don't core up when you're twisting. Everyone else, we're doing 7 on each side. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you're seated, twist the other way. Switching sides for bird dogs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, last thing are the V-ups. With the weight or without, 10 of those. Seated, you're doing the push down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. So now let's go back to those stretches. Let's start with a side stretch. So nice and flat on your chair or the ground, either one. So this time, bring your knees up if you can. If you can't, that's okay. Keep them flat or hanging off the chair. I kind of twist one leg over. Opposite arm comes across my knee, and then I kind of push a little bit. Don't jam into it, just nice and easy. We're gonna hold these. Let me set it so it's the same as what we did before. We're gonna hold this for 15, so a little bit longer. So 15 on each side. We're gonna do this a couple times and see how loose we got. Here we go. Keep your head straight forward, and you'll just feel it stretching your spine. All right, let's switch sides. Ooh, cramp. Ah. Good, let's stretch again. Other way. Oh, so many cramps right now. Okay, one more time the other way. Three, 2, 1. Cool. Now we're gonna go forward again. I gotta drink some water. I'm like, must be dehydrated because I'm getting cramps. Okay, we're gonna stretch forward. Seated or not, doesn't matter. We're gonna just bend forward at the spine. We're gonna hold this for 30. So here we go. Just bending nice and forward. Let those arms hang out in front of you or down by your sides. And just let it really stretch you down. Now your core should be nice and loose. You shouldn't be doing anything with your core. Think jelly belly. Coming up here on 1. Now come up top again. That nice straight one, either arms up or just be extended as much as you possibly can. Let the air fill in your lungs. Nice deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. We're gonna hold that for a little bit. Nice and relaxed. All right, we're gonna go forward again for 30. Go down nice and smooth, nice and slow. Don't bounce in your stretch. Just let it slowly elongate you out. Good. Coming up on 3, 2, 1. Good. Beautiful. Nice job, you guys. That's it for today. Thank you for stretching and doing your core with me. We will be back here next week again. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask now or shoot an email to us. If not, we'll just see you guys next week.